Hello and welcome to Marvel Vision, a Marvel Studios TV show podcast brought to you by Cinema Sangha. My name is Devin Faraci. I am one of the hosts of the program. Joining me, as he traditionally does,
my name is Derek Faraci, and with the clothes on their back, they came through a storm. How are you, Devin?
I'm okay. I had a thought right before we began recording. I want to run it by you.
Yeah.
So, you know how in comic books, everybody comes back to life all the time?
Sure.
Doesn't this mean that maybe superheroes should be a little bit looser with their no-killing policy? If they feel pretty well that, like, if we kill Magneto, he's probably coming back. Like, he's not staying dead. Like,
Magneto, yes. Random Joker thug, not so much, because he doesn't have enough of a fan base.
But the Joker, though, you could just put a bullet between his eyes and he'll be fine.
He'll be back in a couple of weeks. Yeah, fine.
I kind of want to read a comic book like where the superheroes like, oh, they always come back, so I just don't even mind cutting their heads off or whatever because I'm not actually.
There's the bit from Final Crisis, right? Grant Morrison's Final Crisis, where Martian Manhunter dies, and they're having his funeral, and Superman is given the eulogy, and the line is something along the lines of, "We will mourn your passing and celebrate your return." You know, I've always liked that. That it's like, it's sad he's dead, but let's face it, he'll be back sooner or later. You know?
I just want to see Superman be like, fuck it. Like, I know this guy's going to come back, so I'm just going to tear him in half. Like, I'm not going to bother wasting time because he always comes back. I don't know how he does it, but every single time.
Sure.
You know? Like, I mean, Batman should just kill Ra's al Ghul, right? Because he's going to come back too.
They'll just toss him in the
Lazarus pit.
Lazarus pit. Yeah.
And he should also feel free to like blow up the Lazarus pit because they'll find a new one or they'll make a new one or something. Like this stuff always going to come. I really kind of want to read a comic book story where the main character knows, not like in a breaking the fourth wall way, but knows the
just
tropes.
The history of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but again, not in a fourth wall breaking way. I don't want him to be like, oh boy, folks, can't you believe he's going to come back from but like, you know, just knowledge that if he blows this thing up, it's going to come back. If he kills this guy, he'll show up again in about a year.
Yeah.
You
could even play with it where somebody, let's say, obviously this will never happen. Wolverine kills Magneto and everyone's like, Wolverine, what are you doing? And he's like, he'll be back. We know he'll be back. And then throughout the next 2 years of issues, Wolverine's like, he has not come back. You know, did I kill this guy? You know, Wolverine obviously less concerned with killing, but like you take a character who does not normally kill, have them kill somebody and be like, no, we know they'll be back. This has happened before.
Right.
And then they don't return and be like, oh my goodness, I killed this. And even like let's say it's Superman. Superman kills Lex Luthor. And he's like, he'll be back. And Lex is not returning. And when Lex finally returns, Superman's so happy. He's like, I'm just happy to see you.
I missed you, bro.
Yeah, because I thought I killed you and I felt really bad.
This thought is brought to you by somebody posting on Facebook a panel from Axis, the storyline in which at one point Magneto beats the Red Skull to death.
Okay.
And but then also like One World Under Doom, the Red Skull just got killed at the beginning of that storyline. So I mean, like these, like one of these guys, they just keep coming back. Like it's just, you might just as well just knock them off.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thought. We're not going to talk about it too much, but you've seen the Superman.
I did. I saw it last night. Yeah.
The Superman is real, and Derek has seen him.
Yes. You will believe a dog can fly.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit on the phone. I had to make Derek stop spoiling it for me. He would not. I would say, okay, that's enough detail. And then he would launch right back into details.
More.
I haven't seen it. I'm going to see it tomorrow. By this time tomorrow, I will have seen it. But I will say that talking to Derek got me pretty psyched.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what you think. I think you're going to like it, but who knows? You know. It's definitely a movie that is hitting different people in different ways, but overall the response has been far more positive than I kind of expected.
Right.
And so we'll see where it goes.
Do you think Krypto's poop smells especially bad? Like, is there like a high level stink to Krypto's poop, you think?
There is no discussion of Krypto's poop in the movie.
That's actually surprising. If anybody's going to broach the subject of Krypto's poop, it's going to be James Gunn. James Gunn's going to have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They never discuss Krypto's poop.
Do you think if he pees on a tree, knock the tree over?
I would think that's a very strong possibility. I would be concerned considering, they're hanging out in the Arctic, that if he pees in the Arctic, he could crack it open.
Just create a giant iceberg.
Yeah. Or because piss is hot. Maybe he's got super hot piss.
Yeah.
And he's causing global warming.
This is the discussion, obviously everybody was like, back decades, man of steel, woman of tissue, but nobody's ever said, is Superman just going through toilets every day?
Yes.
Is he just blowing up toilets, literally just exploding them with his urine?
Yeah.
What does Superman do to pee, man?
I guess he's very careful.
In the Silver Age, he definitely had a Kryptonian toilet.
He would have had some kind of like Kryptonian toilets, or that, they'd be like, well, because he has super muscle control, he can kind of just let it dribble out and it's fine.
I like to imagine that he goes off into space to do his business and he always directs his pee at like wherever Brainiac is. War World or something. Yeah. I mean, like, just like he knows where they are and he goes, all right, you're going to have a real fucking surprise in 6.5 years when this finally makes it to you.
Fucking Mongol is sitting there. He's like, we will destroy it. What is this? Oh my God.
Yeah. That would be amazing. Somebody write that comic book, Superman pissing at World across
Garth
the
Ennis is working on it right
now. Oh man. So you had a packed house for the movie, right?
Yeah, it was sold out. I mean, it's a Amazon Fandango fan screening, so that's not overly surprising.
Mm-hmm.
But it went over very well. There's one moment, we'll discuss this on Watchmen, I imagine, but there's one specific moment the entire audience gasped in shock. And it went over very, very well. But again,
is it when Superman said the N-word?
Yes. Yeah.
That's the thing is James Gunn's trying to appeal to the people who complain is too woke. So he had to make his Superman not woke.
Well, because he's like, look, I got a lot of stuff in here that is very, leftist progressive thinking. Yeah. So I got to give them something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
These guys, they just want to hear and say the N-word. That's their whole political platform. So just give it to them.
He takes a bit from Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Krypto is constantly trying to attack Mr. Terrific because Krypto's a racist dog. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
But, man. Very excited to see it.
It was a packed house. The people enjoyed it very much. But it was clearly a fan screening,
Yeah.
They were respectful. They weren't like every time somebody appeared, they didn't like cheer or scream or anything like that. But, they were the audience there knowing they would like it, like coming in like, oh, we're going to like this, that kind of thing.
All right. We have any news this week?
We do. The Fantastic Four social media embargo will lift on the 21st, and the full reviews are the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's following what has become the pretty common format for these, where it's like 2 or 3 days before the movie releases, they lift the embargoes. So we'll be getting word on that. They did do a 30-minute preview of the film in Brazil, and that appears to have gone very well. So we shall see.
Very excited.
Yes.
This could be a great July, man. This could be a great July for us dorks.
Yeah. James Gunn was asked about the Batman 2 script at the red carpet of Superman, and he said he read it, and it's great.
Imagine if he's like, I read it. It's kind of a piece of shit, frankly.
Yeah.
Long time, really did not get what we needed out of this.
I will say, I watched an interview with Gunn, and he in it. He's talking about how he doesn't believe there's superhero fatigue, but he believes that there's mediocre movie fatigue, and how that's why these movies need to try and do different things and do different stuff. And in it, he's like, you look at like Barbie. They did something different than anyone expected with a Barbie movie, and what happens? People love it. $1 billion. It's a huge hit. And then he says, Matt Reeves is that kind of director. He makes things that are different than people expect. He has his own voice. He has a very interesting take on things. He's not for everybody, but he does good stuff. And I was like, dude, are you talking about yourself? Like, do you not like his stuff?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but yeah. So it. I don't know. Maybe he's not the biggest Matt Reeves guy. I don't know.
Crazy.
But they're making Batman too. Either way, so we'll see. Matt Reeves was also at the red carpet, but I don't think he took any questions. So he was just walking around. Him and Andy Muschietti were both just walking around.
Andy Muschietti does not want to answer any questions.
No,
for sure.
No. Moving on, Michael Douglas has said he's retired from acting, so we will in theory never see Hank Pym again.
We will. I mean, we might not, but like if Marvel,
Robert Redford retired from acting and showed up in Endgame, right? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's very plausible.
Everyone's retired until that check shows up.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we'll see. Robert Downey Jr. interviewed Dominic Thorne about Ironheart, and it was a pretty good interview. I don't know if you watched it.
I did not. I didn't even know what happened.
Oh, well, I put it on the news list.
I didn't get one today.
It's the same document every time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Okay,
there you go. But it's the interesting thing that stood out to me about the interview is he's not doing any of his usual snark.
Yeah,
like he really seems to be like, and he says at the start, he's like, I've only seen the first 3 episodes, and he's like, but I think it's great. I think it's a great evolution of the Iron Man concept and story, and then taking it someplace different and all that kind of stuff. And he like really starts like hitting her up on the characters. He's like, what's up with, what's going to happen with you and Xavier? like, are you guys getting together? What's going on? And she's like, oh, you got to watch. I thought it was
Marvel wouldn't give him the back half. Robert Downey Jr. can't get screeners. Crazy.
No. He is wearing a West Coast Avengers t-shirt in that though, which is pretty fun.
Huh.
Yeah. That really felt to me like they were like I feel like he showed up wearing like an Adidas shirt or a Nike shirt or something. They're like, we don't have clearance for that. Here's a West Coast Avengers shirt you can put on. Is it great? Thanks. New York has renamed Essex Street and Delancey Street as Yancey Street and Jack Kirby Way to celebrate Jack Kirby. And I think
not the entirety of them.
No, just the block that he was raised on. Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's very nice. I think it's a great tribute to one of the great comic people who hated Nazis.
Obviously Disney bought this. It's marketing for Fantastic Four, but that's great. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. The Jack Kirby Museum, very excited about it.
Yeah.
They graciously, they were very thankful to Disney because they've been trying to get this done for years. And then Disney just threw some money at it and it happened.
That'll happen. Throw some money at it. Give Eric Adams a first-class ticket someplace. And guess what? You got your own street names.
Yeah. Promise to get rid of some of his legal problems. It's all good. A photo was leaked from Avengers Doomsday that showed Danny Ramirez, Evan Moss-Baccarat, and Wyatt Russell hanging out together on set. So those 3 characters, and they're all in costumes. So I guess they'll have a scene together. There you go.
Huh.
Yeah.
They're on a spaceship too.
Yeah. Danny Ramirez. Everyone's very excited to see him return. He's the character everybody wants.
America's beloved character, Falcon 2.
Yep.
I mean, you know what, though? I'm going to tell you something. Falcon, U.S. Agent, and The Thing together, that I think it's a good group. That's one of the things that worked in Infinity War. They did a really good job of mixing the groups, and it felt really interesting as a result.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I will also say there's a rumor out there that there is still no 3rd act for Doomsday.
Yeah, maybe.
My theory is they just haven't figured out exactly who they can get to show up yet. So I think they have a 3rd act, but they have a lot of insert character stuff.
Yeah.
Not unlike in Civil War, where they were like, if Spider-Man shows up, this is going to happen. If he doesn't, this is going to happen. I think it's that kind of deal. But we'll see. We got our first look at Wonder Man in a Disney Plus ad for what's coming later this year.
He appears to have a costume.
I mean,
it's a Marvel, and it's an MCU costume, but
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
That's the one guy that I would be okay with him wearing a jacket, just a jacket, because the best Wonder Man look is him just in a jacket.
Yeah, and that 70s look.
Yeah, the turtleneck and the glasses. Yeah,
Yeah. Hopefully he shows up in that at some point.
I would hope so.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And as discussed, I guess today or yesterday at some point on the Howard Stern show, one of Howard Stern's lackeys, Richard Christie, is his parents are the models for Mon Pa Kent and Superman.
Their voices,
Their voices, yes,
not for their characters.
No, but their voices.
Yeah. So Christie had his parents record voicemails to James Gunn. Where they would say things, and so that he would use that like to help the actors capture, because they're from where the Kents are from.
They're from Kansas,
yeah, and so they could try to capture that accent a little bit. What a weird choice, though, Christie. So odd.
I mean, all credit to Gunn. He is a guy that no matter, I guess, how big his movie budgets are, he is a trauma guy at heart, and he clearly is like Richard Christie is the voicemails they play from his parents are hilarious. I want Ma Pa Kent to sound like this.
Yeah. So, God bless him.
Yeah. So there you go. And then I don't have it up now, but last I saw, Superman is currently at 84 or 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. Just about 200 reviews. So it's tracking pretty well there.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Many of the positive reviews do say like, hey, it's not great. It's good.
Right.
But it seems to be doing well with the critics overall.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And it comes out tomorrow. I guess tomorrow is the official showing. I guess it's still previews. I don't understand why Thursdays are previews when they start at like 2:00.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing it at 12:45 tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's so early. That's just the opening day, 12:45. I mean, that's the opening day.
Yeah, and especially like you do like Tuesday, sure, that's previews, right? Hey, there's only one showing at this time. Be there or fuck off, right? That's a preview. Right. But when it's like, you can come at lunch, you can come after dinner, whenever. Yeah, we're gonna have it playing at like 3 different screens. Have fun.
Oh yeah, it's playing on 1 million screens tomorrow afternoon. Yeah.
So we shall see. We shall see.
And
that's all I got for news.
We got letters.
We do. Mike Acid asks if Jeff Wells really as weird as he seems to be online? That one's for you because I don't know the guy.
I'm gonna say no. He's much weirder. He
toned it down.
It's not that he tones it down. It's that his presence is weird. His energy is weird. Like to be in a room with him is uncomfortable a lot of the time. He's just a strange dude. He also doesn't have a ton necessarily of like social skills. So he'll just like interrupt a conversation, come make a beeline across the room and interrupt the conversation and just like just start talking and stuff like that. I mean, partially because he thinks he's the most important guy walking the earth. Sure. I mean, I've had a lot of encounters with Jeff Wells. He is truly an enormous, bizarre, strange person. He's also not like a great guy, frankly. But I have to give him some credit is that even though he is a TERF, he has not gone the full distance as Sasha Stone. They dated once upon a time and they do podcasts together, and she's become a full-on MAGA person, like full-on, like just hardcore. He has not quite gone that far.
Isn't he like 100 years old?
Oh yeah, no, he's ancient. Yeah. He's really, what are you laughing about?
Because I mean, she's not that old, right? She's what, 30?
Yeah, I think they hooked. 30s? No,
I have no idea how old she is.
No, she's in her 60s, I think.
Is she really? Okay, I had no idea. I thought she was a younger.
No. Okay. She's older than me. I think also they hooked up like before, like a while ago. I don't think they've been currently an item of any kind.
He's like, want to see my fresh limo?
He got fired from that job.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff.
I got fired from the limo job. So yeah, he's a pretty weird dude. And, he's always like crowdfunding his trips to Cannes and stuff like that. And I'm always like, I wish I was shameless because there's a lot of stuff I'd like to do, that I would love to crowdfund. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like me and
Yeah.
you go do something, you know, be really great. But like when we went to Cleveland, we just paid for it out of our
Yeah,
pockets. Like it wasn't even
and doing
consideration.
the ghost trip, right?
Yeah,
The
we just
clown
paid for it out
motel,
of
we
our
just paid for it
pockets.
out of our
Yeah.
pockets. There was a while back, a couple of weeks ago, Buddy Todd was like, you guys should set up Amazon wish lists. People will buy you stuff. I was like, look, if I need a fucking, you know, like a dish rack, there's no way I can be like, hey, somebody buy me a dish rack. Like that's weird. That feels
You
weird to
don't
me.
put
I
a
see
dish
other
rack on that. You
no,
don't put a dish
I've
rack on that.
seen like podcasters that do that where it's like oh, I really want this rug. It's like fuck you, buy the rug yourself. Like, you know.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, they're not asking for it. They're giving you an opportunity to buy it, but they're not saying, "Hey, will you
Yeah,
please buy this
I
for
would
me?"
feel very uncomfortable with that personally. I'd feel very
Yeah, I
uncomfortable.
haven't done it either. We talked about setting up a PO box that people could send us stuff.
Yeah,
But I looked into it and it's pretty pricey.
is it?
Yeah, it's just not. I don't think it's worth it. You know what I
No,
mean? Like, it's just not worth it.
especially then. Like, is the PO box in LA? Is it here in Michigan? And then one of us has to send the other one all their shit all the time. Like,
Right.
that's exhausting.
Yeah, it's too much. Too much.
That's never going to happen. You know?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, it's too much. So, but yeah, Jeff Wells is weirder. He is a little bit more uncomfortable to deal with in real life than he is online. He is also like always like stalking around the edges of things. It's yeah.
well,
So
there you go. There you go. Jim B. Johnson asks, I've never read Fantastic Four comics, and I'm pretty sure all my Doctor Doom knowledge comes from Wikipedia. Please help me understand why he's so beloved. There you go.
can I answer this?
Yeah, you're more the Marvel guy.
So I think there's a number of reasons. One is that I think his design is super iconic. I mean, like it's just a great design. Like it just
Amazing
really
design.
looks really good, and it's a design that came out of a sillier era that really just still works. Like it just does. It still works. I think the other thing is that he is both tech and magic, which I think is really cool. People love that. He runs his own country, which is a super unusual thing for a supervillain. And he's always run, not always. I mean, eventually in the beginning he didn't, but he's always run his country like he's
pretty early on, right?
Pretty early on, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe even as far as his second appearance, but I don't remember off the top of my head. And that's really cool. That's like really, really cool. But also he has a couple of things that are really neat. One of which is that the John Byrne version is my favorite version, his origin, which is that he wears a metal mask all the time because he got one little scar on his face and he could not show his face. The other version is that he wears the metal mask all the time because he was too impatient to put it on when it was coming out of the furnace, and he just put it on, which is like crazy. He's like one of the smartest guys in the world. He didn't know that metal's hot coming out of the furnace.
He will not hurt Doom.
He also talks really cool. He's got like a really cool mode of talking, but also his relationship with Reed Richards is amazing. Like the hate they have for each other is like iconically good. And what's even better is that like he's the godfather to Reed and Sue's child, Valeria. Like, I mean, like it's such a
named
cool,
after him.
And after his country. Yeah. It's such a cool fucking thing. And it's like one of those ones where it's like people try to reverse engineer those relationships that kind of like deep, both hatred and they're deeply connected, but like it rose on its own and it just really fucking sings. I mean, like, so they were college roommates and shit. And like, it's just been an ongoing hatred.
And he blames Reed that he was building a machine to get his mother's soul
from hell.
And he blames Reed that it didn't work.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, it's great. It's just great. And also the thing is that Dr. Doom doesn't have a humongous amount of time for the other villains.
Yeah.
He is not like one of these guys who's going to be scheming with villains all the time. He might use them as lackeys, but he's not. He never thinks of anybody as an equal. In the modern Dr. Doom, by the way, sometimes shows up in the Marvel's been real heavy on the multiverse in the comics. And sometimes he shows up with the Dr. Doom from the dinosaur world. So it's Dr. Doom riding a T-Rex that has a Dr. Doom mask on. So fucking good. Fucking good.
I believe he still talks like this in the comics. He is like the one character that can pull off talking about himself in third person.
Oh yeah, no, he does. Doom is giving you everything. Like now that he, like in the comics, he currently runs the world, and
Yeah,
that's what he'll say. Doom has given you everything you need: education, healthcare, and he always does that. It's like
yeah,
really great. I mean, like my concern is that the movie's not going to capture that because it's so heightened.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and
And Robert Downey Jr. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. has the right cadence to his voice for that kind of stuff.
the thing is, he's a real actor, so
He
I
is.
think that he can. It's just a matter of how serious is he taking this.
Yeah,
That's the question. How serious is he really creating Doom as a new character? Or is he creating Doom as, hey, it's a riff on Tony Stark?
yeah.
And that's the question to
Well,
be
and
answered.
is that what are they creating, like in the
Right.
script and stuff as well, right?
Right. So that's like sort of like a big question. But yeah, I just think Doctor Doom is like honestly probably one of the top 3 all-time comic book villains.
Yeah,
Uh, he's a guy who you feel like could definitely beat the heroes. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of Spider-Man villains, they have to really dumb Spidey down or whatever to get beat by some of these dipshits.
like
But
Beetle.
like yeah, like the Beetle or whatever. But yeah, but like Doctor Doom is like a legitimate fucking threat.
He's
And
as smart as Reed Richards.
yep,
He's as knowledgeable in magic as Doctor Strange.
he is
He
currently
runs
the
his own
sorcerer.
country.
He's currently the sorcerer supreme of Earth. In fact,
There you go. Yeah,
yeah,
he runs his own country. He defeated the Beyonder in the first Secret Wars, which is
yep.
one of the great moments in
Solo.
comic books.
He one the Beyonder.
He soloed the Beyonder
Yeah,
and has one of the greatest comic covers of all time for, I think it's Secret Wars 10, right? Where he's on the ground
yeah.
and the suit's all ripped up. Amazing. Like a
Yeah.
great story. And then a piece that I always like that Mark Waid put in as a bit of retcon is it was always like, oh, he's trying to get his mom out of hell. And they go and get them. The Thing dies during Mark Waid's run. And they go to Reed's like, oh, if we get Doom's machine, I can make sure it works and we can go get him. And I think Johnny or Sue, one of them's like, but that's just going to take us to hell. You don't think Ben's in hell? And Reed goes, what kind of son thinks his mother is in hell? And I like that idea that it's like, no, he was trying to get her out of heaven. But then later on found out she was in hell. And it's like, I've always loved that little touch to it.
Also,
and then they go Jack Kirby. So
Doom is Romani.
Yes.
And that's, by the way, people online get really upset when they cast a comic character who's Romani in the comics without somebody who's not Romani. But like, you kind of can't beat Robert Downey Jr. in terms of getting people to walk into your movie.
And according to his Wikipedia, he's part Romani.
There we go. But also, I found out, I didn't really even realize this, that Doom has been Romani since Fantastic Four Annual #2.
Really? That long back?
They did his origin. But back then, when they did Romani, it was gypsies, and the purpose of it was to give him strange magic background.
Sure.
So it's not super. But
like
however,
as Wanda, right? That's what they did with Wanda and Pietro.
Yeah. But the thing is that what's really interesting is that even back then, when it was a little racist, Doom's origin comes in that his people are kind of being oppressed and stuff. So I kind of love that too for Doom, that he comes from like the people who don't have a nation, who are driven out of countries, and then he becomes one of the most powerful people on Earth. And currently, like I said, he's running it.
I think it's also, I don't think it's always like this, but I know in many of the stories, the setup of Latveria is the people love him.
They love him.
He's a good leader.
He's a good guy.
He treats his citizens well.
Yep.
And they love him for it. They're terrified of the Doombots that he's got patrolling, but like, you know, he's not an asshole to them. He's not like taking all their money and stuff. He's like, no, we're going to live good here.
Yeah.
But you got to live under Doom. And what are you going to do?
So Strange Academy, the comic that's about Doctor Strange teaching young magic users, has become Doom Academy under the One World Under Doom storyline. And that has some interesting stuff about Latveria, because they're in Latveria. And so there's been some interesting, like, I'm hoping they probably won't go more into like cultural stuff, but I kind of would like them to do that.
Okay.
Like the editor of the school newspaper is the son of the censor, the guy who takes away all the bad news in Latveria and only allows the good news through. So stuff like that. Yeah.
There you
go. It's pretty cool.
Dr. Doom, also an important part of the first Damage Control miniseries, which I agree, where they bill him for destroying the Baxter building and he gets very upset.
There's like 6 things I can count you to go back to. I can't believe we didn't get Quantum Leap into this one. I'm sure there must be some way.
I can't think of he sends the Fantastic Four back in time and the Thing becomes Blackbeard, but I don't think that really counts. I can't.
I don't think that counts, no.
Yeah.
And also, Doctor Doom famously cried at 9/11. I hate that, but it's actually not
Yeah.
canon, right? That's not a canon story.
No, it's not. No.
I hated that so much.
It's terrible. It's like, dude, you do this every 2 weeks. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what are you gonna do? Him and Magneto is there, and it's like, Magneto, just lift all the metal. What are you doing? Why are you doing like piece by piece? Just boop,
just
pick
lift
it up.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Anyway, Charles Villanueva asks, people in the Discord are starting to hate James Gunn's constant presence on social media. The more he talks, the more it feels like the James Gunn universe and not the DC universe. Should Gunn shut the fuck up and step away from social media as a studio head?
You start this one.
I think we've discussed this before. Yeah, I think he needs to pull back quite a bit. You see stories about Supergirl or about Clayface or whatever, and it says, like, the article will be like, James Gunn's Supergirl, and it's not his movie, it's Craig Gillespie's movie, he's directing it, so that is something I think is dangerous. I also think at the same time, with Superman coming out, he is arguably the best known name connected to the movie. It would be like him, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult. I guess Nathan Fillion has had like 2 TV shows that have been running for like 12 years. So he's
nobody goes to a movie to see Nathan Fillion.
No, nobody goes to the movie to see Nathan Fillion. But like, those are probably the most recognizable names to people in this movie. And I would say it's between Gunn and Brosnahan, which one is more known to people.
Gunn.
And when it comes to movies, definitely Gunn.
No,
right?
It's Gunn. Gunn is more known than anybody in this movie. Maybe Hoult, maybe Nicholas Hoult, because he's been acting since he was a kid and he's been in a bunch of big things.
Yeah. But so I think
nobody knows who Brosnahan is.
I mean,
nobody watched it. Nobody watched it.
She was winning awards and stuff.
Nobody watched
Grammys.
it.
I was going to say Grammys.
But the stuff that wins the awards, nobody watches.
That's true. But so I think that's part of why he's out there a lot. He has said in recent interviews, like, people are going to start hearing a lot less from him after the movie comes out because he knows he has to pull back. I would also say that if you're terminally online, you're going to see him all over the place. But
if you're hunting this stuff out, you're definitely going to. That's the thing. I think every now and again, the good folks in our Discord get a little drunk on the haterade. And this is one of those cases, I think, where we're in a group that's seeking this information out. You know what I mean? Like, in fact, I will go to the Discord to see news that I haven't seen yet. Like, the people are pretty good at that. And so the regular average person just does not get this. And it's one of those things like where, you leave the TV on on Fox News and you're like, why am I getting all this conservative stuff? It's like, well, you left it on Fox News. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the thing. I think that for regular people, it doesn't feel like too much. I do think it's a lot. I do think that his addiction to answering questions is not necessarily helpful.
Yeah.
And I think that he should just let some things be. I do think that the Creature Commandos cameo is a bridge too far. That's
too much. That is something I think we've discussed it before.
We did discuss it. Yeah.
Yeah. He said that they did it without him knowing. And it's like, sure. But once you saw it, you can be like, guys, I appreciate it, but please cut this out.
Yeah, no, it's a bridge too far. But the thing is that you're right. Like, that's the thing I try to keep in mind with stuff is like, oh, I am knee deep in this shit. That's why it feels to me like there's a lot of this, because I'm knee deep in it. But if I'm not knee deep in this, there's like probably people in other fandoms that are like video game people. They watch Twitch or whatever, and they're knee deep in that shit. And they're like, why is this guy always doing this thing? And I'm like, I don't even know who that fucking guy is, man. I had no idea he was alive. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's sort of the same thing. Like, to remember that we're so deep into this. The fact that you're listening to a podcast about Marvel TV shows inherently means that you're probably deeper into this than most other people.
Yeah. I mean, just the other day I was reading a thread on Reddit about some YouTuber, and everyone's like, he's gone downhill. He's putting out too many videos, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And I look, he's got like 15 million followers. I'm like, I've never heard of this dude.
Never heard of him. Yeah.
Never heard of him, you know, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I do think, he can cut back for sure, and I think he will. I think after the Superman press stuff is done.
Yeah, I think
We're
so,
probably
yeah.
not going to hear from him too much.
He'll pop up to be doing press for the next stuff, but yeah, I think he might be a little bit more quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. If even that, like as a studio head, does he got to go out there and do interviews for
Kevin Feige does.
Clayface? That's true. Kevin Feige does. That's true. That's true.
And everybody wants Feige. Everybody wants to sit down with Feige.
And I mean, that is the other thing. He is kicking off. Hopefully for them, he is kicking off a
universe.
A universe. He is the writer. He's the director. He's the head of the studio. Everyone wants to talk to him.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it as well. But hopefully he'll. Oh, actually, I guess after Superman, he's probably not going to disappear too much because then Peacemaker season 2 comes out.
Yeah, we're probably actually going to hear from him. Yeah, that's August, isn't it?
He's doing a podcast for that, so he's going to be around for a while. And again, today I was watching an interview with him today, and he talked about like as something he knows. He's like, look, I have an issue that I want everyone to love me. I originally wanted to be a famous musician, and I tried acting. Like, I want to be in front of the camera,
right?
But I'm not very good at it. so he's like, so it's not great, and I know I have to cut back because I can't keep being the focus of attention on these things. I have to, other people have to get out there and do it. So we'll see where it goes.
All right, you ready to talk about the first appearance of Krypto the Superdog?
I am.
Let's do it. Adventure Comics number 210, the first appearance of Krypto the Superdog. We get 3 stories in this comic, plus a text story that I didn't read. Did you read the
I did not
story?
read it, no.
I'm like,
no.
Fuck this, I can't even.
I did read the little peppy, whatever.
Yes, I read that, and I read the hat thing. Excuse me, there is a message. I got a text.
Jarvis.
So I skipped that. I read the hat thing, and I read the peppy, whatever that is.
I did not do the hat thing.
I didn't do that. I looked at it.
Yeah,
I looked at it. Yeah. But this one is Superboy, The Adventures of Superman when he was a boy. And It's a story called The Superdog from Krypton. And it turns out Krypto's a huge asshole. So it opens. What?
It's funny because Krypto is much more, and we've seen this in the ads and stuff, that in the movie Krypto is very like hectic and breaking stuff. And I'd read this in the past, but I'd forgotten that that's exactly how Krypto was when he's first introduced. Yeah.
It begins with a dog catcher. Boy, we don't see dog catchers and things anymore, huh? When I was a kid growing up, I figured dog catchers, they were everywhere. There was just constant dog catchers.
Well, the BTK killer put an end to that.
What?
The BTK killer, he was a dog catcher.
No,
he would euthanize dogs. Yeah, he was.
He worked for a security system. BTK worked for a security system. You're thinking of the wrong guy.
BTK I think he did that too, though, didn't he? Or am I thinking of a different guy?
I don't know, but BTK worked for a security system.
He was the one that got caught because he sent stuff from his church, right?
No, he got caught because he sent stuff later on after he had been like he basically made them catch him, basically.
Yeah, well, he was like, hey, can you guys get my info from like a floppy disk? And they're like, no. And then he sent them a floppy disk and it had like info about his church, and that's how they figured it out.
Maybe, okay, that sounds right. But I'm pretty positive BTK. Oh, let's not Google this. You're Googling it. So it opens with the dog catcher, and he's rounding up some dogs, and one of those dogs is one silly ass looking cartoon dog who immediately busts out the side of the van, and Superboy happens to be right there. Superboy, by the way, ACAB includes Superboy because he's like, I'm going to round these dogs up. Like, fuck you, Superboy. Let these dogs run free, man. Like, what's going on here?
He also, I feel, puts the dogs in a very dangerous position because Krypto breaks through the side of the dog catching truck, right?
Yeah.
And then Superboy's like, oh, I got these boards and nails, and I'll hammer them in to cover up the hole. There's dogs in there, and now there's just nails sticking out of the side of the truck.
It's not great. It's not great.
Yeah.
So he does that. He's a real son of a gun. I'm not a fan of this Superboy right here. Then he's going to go work at his pop's store. And he's at the store, and boy, Smallville, man, a lot goes on in Smallville because it gets robbed by a whole fucking gang of guys. Like this,
in the middle of the day.
Organized crime guys. These are like gangsters.
Yeah, at Kent General Store, how much could be in the till?
I don't even know. But little Clark Kent can't get involved because it's everybody will see him do it, so he'll give up his secret identity. But it turns out that a dog chases these guys, and the guy's like, "Guess we got to kill this dog," which also seems very extreme, by the way.
Well, I like one of the guys is like, oh, that poor dog. like there's one criminal who's like, oh, this is wrong. Why are we shooting a dog?
They shoot the dog and they think that they're missing him, but actually the bullets are just bouncing off of his flesh. And the bullets are flying around to such an extent that Clark is able to redirect them back at the gangsters and disarm them. So he takes care of that, and then he goes to find the dog. He hears the dog. He thinks he's gnawing on a bone, but he's gnawing on one of the guns.
Yes.
And
must be from Florida.
So Clark's like, oh shit. He turns into Superboy between panels. And it's like, I got to get this dog. This dog's got all these powers, but at least he can't fly. And then sure enough, he flies off into the sky. So they go flying around, and Superboy's like, boy, I wonder what his other power. He has so many of my powers. I wonder if he has X-ray vision. And sure enough, there's a bone buried deep beneath the earth. I mean, it looks like a human leg bone to me.
It's a femur. It's definitely
a femur, right? Like
it's like the scene in the Burbs when the dog brings them the bone, and he's like, this is not just any bone. This is a femur, and then they start screaming, and the camera moves. I love that movie.
Like I want to have a panel that pulls out and shows that they're at the Smallville Cemetery. That's what I want to see. I want to see that Krypto is digging up a fucking femur from the Smallville Cemetery.
He just pulls out a head. Yeah.
So they go out, and Krypto understands that Superboy is like, what the fuck is up with this dog? And so Krypto leads him to his crashed rocket ship that has a note inside of it.
A handwritten note.
And it's really funny because he reads the handwritten note. And it's like, our planet's going to be destroyed and we're going to send our baby in a rocket. But first we have to test the rocket with a dog. And by the way, it is just presented as a matter of fact thing. This is so 1950s that it's like, fuck it. We're going to send dogs and monkeys into space. Sure, of course.
I mean, that's what NASA did, right?
No, I know. But I'm saying like, it's like nobody at the time was like, oh, that's pretty awful. Maybe the superpowered people from Krypton don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't understand that it's his father until he gets to the very end of the letter.
Let's go through this piece by piece because there are things I love. One, the first panel we see of the scientists, the Kryptonian scientists working on it. They're putting a monkey into a rocket.
Yes, they are.
And just one guy is not wearing pants. And I feel like the rest of them have to be like, Gary, you gotta wear pants at work. You have to. This is very uncomfortable. I know we all wear the underwear on the outside, but it's got to be on the outside. It can't be just the underwear. Like, come on. And then it's like, it's Jor-El being like, well, I guess I got to use my son's dog. Like, there's not enough time to go get another animal.
It's so funny, man.
So he takes little puppy Krypto away from baby Kal-El. Lara is just wearing like a evening gown.
She's ready. She's ready to hit the town.
Yeah. And then the rocket goes up. Krypto gets hit by a meteor. Now this is where the story gets interesting because it is still the letter explaining what happened to Krypto. How?
It's insane.
How did he write like, oh, you know what's probably going to happen? He's probably going to get hit by a meteor and then fly off. Like, yeah. The letter ends, and during that time, the super puppy grew into a super dog before finally reaching the Earth. How did Jor-El know this was going to happen?
You know what's so funny? I feel like even back then they could have understood there'd be like a computer readout or something like that would tell what happened on the trip, but they don't do that. They don't bother because they're writing it for 9-year-olds and they don't care. Like, I mean, that's like always such a thing to keep in the back of your mind. They're writing for 9-year-olds and they do not care.
No, they do not expect two middle-aged men to be reading this in 70 years.
No, they would be horrified. But Superboy realizes, first of all, he realizes that was his parents. It takes him forever to figure it out. It's like crazy that it takes him that long to figure it out. But then he realizes
that super baby.
It's so amazing. Then he realizes that Krypto must have been his dog as a baby, and he bursts into tears. Yeah. And so he's like, oh, great, I got my dog now. I'm like the other fellas who all have dogs. I don't know why he couldn't have a dog. I don't understand why that's
not a clue. Not
He lives
a
on a
clue.
fucking farm, right? I mean, like,
You would think there'd be a dog.
yeah, like, actually seems like it would be part of the deal.
There's no way that Pa Kent is not like pheasant hunting or something and wouldn't have a dog,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like,
weird, right? Like, it just seems like he should have a dog. And the way that the panel is written, it seems like it's been something that's been haunting him. That
yeah,
because he's Superboy, he can't have a dog. And
yeah.
it's like, well, you know, you can. But maybe he shouldn't, because they fly up into the air and Krypto immediately tears the wing off a plane.
It's amazing. I love it. I love it.
Superboy can't get the wing out of his mouth because he's as strong as Superboy. So he has to trick him with super ventriloquism and make a meow sound that will send Krypto searching for the cat in the clouds. And then he uses his powers to put the wing back on. He doesn't even stop.
Super pressure.
Super pressure, yeah. You would think that would be heat vision would be the thing you want to do there.
I would think the plane is going down. And he's like, oh, if I just push this part of the wing that got ripped off into the plane hard enough, it'll somehow stick back together.
It's like Legos.
But he's also just pushing the plane faster towards the ground at that point. It seems like a very bad plan. You're right. I would think he'd like heat vision, or maybe just get under the plane and bring it down safely.
Well, the best part is that, yeah, he doesn't even like go wave at the guys and go sorry about that or something like that.
Got it.
Fuck him. He lands with Krypto and he builds him a Flintstones doghouse. Yes. And he, for some reason, puts a chain and a collar on him, even though in the very panel he acknowledges it will not keep him. Yes. But then he gives him a big pile of bones, so this should keep him occupied long enough for me not to worry about it.
And then he rubs him with barbed wire.
Yes, he in a volcano. He takes him to a volcano and gives him a bath in a volcano, rubs him with barbed wire. That's good. That's good stuff. That's good.
That's good. Yeah.
That's the Grant Morrison. He takes his dog for a walk around the solar system.
Yeah. And that Krypto looks so upset about it too. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Not like in a painful way, but like in a
but like how a dog is when you give him a bath or whatever. Yeah.
And then we then cut to our good buddy Clark Kent, who is wearing essentially the same outfit he was wearing the day before as he is coming home from school. He's excited to go see his dog. He looks like such a fucking dork. It's insane. I want to give this guy a wedgie. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
As he's walking down the street, fucking Krypto shows up with a steel beam in his mouth to give to Clark. And Clark's like, fuck, I got to get rid of this somehow. So, of course, what he does is he throws it into space.
Well, he sees Lana, and he's like, oh, my God, Lana can't see this. And then he tosses it into space.
And then Lana's like, I just saw you throw a steel beam into space.
Yep. He's like, oh, what?
What? No, it wasn't me. And so he goes into space to grab the steel beam. Krypto is chasing comets around space. Which I feel like you should be like, okay, you want to just keep doing that, buddy. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you stay out of trouble. But no, he brings him back home, and then Krypto chases a cat and almost make a building collapse as he chases the cat into a hole. Superboy is so stupid here. Like, it's crazy how stupid he is.
Oh, he's amazingly dumb. But I love this panel of the hole that Krypto puts in the building because it's like one of those cartoon cutouts.
Cartoon panel, yeah.
Down to like his ears. And I find that very fun.
Yeah. Also, I guess that Krypto probably just disintegrates that cat as soon as he bites it, right? He just explodes it.
Oh, he definitely rips that cat into pieces. Yeah, that cat is done. That cat is done.
Superboy's like, okay, we got to find out where this steel beam came from. And it turns out he pulled it off a bridge. So he's got to put the bridge back together before it collapses. And he gives a stern talking to Krypto, who has a really good hangdog face.
Yes.
And then he's like, hey, you know what? I think I know how to make Lana think that I'm not Superboy. Yeah. I have a plan. So he shows up by Lana's house and he's carrying a big, heavy ladder. And she goes, aha, I see you're carrying a really heavy steel ladder all by yourself. And he goes, no, haven't you heard of the new magnesium ladders? And I think this is made up, right? This is just straight up made up.
I actually believe probably around this time is when they started making like, I don't know about magnesium, but maybe like aluminum ladders that are lighter.
Well. Yeah, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
So he throws it at her.
But her answer of like, I guess they make this for girders too. No,
they don't. No,
they don't. Lana.
Also, he threw it into space.
Also you saw him throw it into space.
As they're talking, wouldn't you know it, Superboy flies overhead. There's a figure with a red cape flying right overhead. It's actually Krypto. Yep. This also is one of these fucking things in this era of comic books where he has to have a whole panel explaining how he's custom built a special boomerang.
It's great because he says earlier, he's like, oh, I got to get a boomerang and Pa Kent's ladder and ladder, and I know how to fix it. And then there's like a little editorial box like, what do you think his plan is? And I like that I've been reading through the Superman Silver Age omnibus, and almost every issue has a point where Superman's like, I know what to do, or like, I figured out who the villain is, and it'll be a little thing like, can you figure it out before you read the next page? And I like that they're like, hey, come on, get involved, people.
So he has built a special boomerang that will lead Krypto in circles. But then he realizes that Krypto cannot stay on Earth. And so he goes and throws Krypto into space.
No, he shows up to play with Krypto, and Krypto's gone. He's like, oh,
that's
he
right.
left.
Yeah. He left. He left. The whole solar system's his backyard. And Superboy cries again, looking back and saying, I hope he comes and visits again just to say hello.
Yeah.
And that's our first appearance of Krypto.
Yeah.
They put so little effort into it. It's crazy. Yeah, he came in a rocket. I don't know.
What's great, though, is clearly Krypto becomes a fan favorite. And then they're like, I don't know, maybe a fucking cat and a monkey, too?
Sure. No, yes.
like, what else could they, like, and it's the kind of thing where it's like, okay, the Kryptonians are testing out rockets, a dog, sure, a monkey, sure, a cat?
Yeah.
That's weird. Like, it's a little
Is
much.
Streaky from Kandor? Or is he?
He might be from Kandor. I'm not sure.
I feel like it might be from Kandor. But yeah, they really didn't put a lot of effort into figuring out how the fuck a Superdog shows up. And I kind of like that. It's charming to me that they just like, fuck it, there's a dog. Like somebody drew a cover that has Superboy and a dog. And that's it. We're going to figure out how to do it.
I will almost guarantee you that somebody at DC, either the editor or the writer of the story or whatever, their kid got a dog. And they were like, what if Superboy had a dog? That'd be fun. Yeah. I can pull 10 pages out of that. Sure.
I'm surprised they got rid of him. I guess the reason they got rid of him, though, is because he doesn't show up in Superman comics. And so the question of, did Krypto get put down at some point?
Yes.
Would have been impossible to avoid. So I wonder if that's why he just leaves at the end. Because it feels like you could add him to the story. It wouldn't be a big deal.
Sure. But they do this a lot with the older Superman stories when they introduce new characters. Like when Supergirl first shows up, the end of that story is Superman being like, look, you're going to wear this brown-haired wig. You're going to go live in that orphanage, and you are not allowed to use your powers. Don't ever fucking use it. And it's 100% a thing of like, who knows? Like, there was not really continuity,
right?
So it was like, no, the story's got to be done by the end. That's it. And then sometimes characters, they see that fans like the character and be like, all right, well, we'll bring them back then. Even with Supergirl, they had a story before she showed up with a different Supergirl. And that was Jimmy Olsen created her with like a magical wish, but it looks just like Kara, and then they were like, oh, people like that idea, or maybe the writers like that idea, and brought in Kara, and then we're like, no, she has to live in an orphanage and never use her powers.
I enjoyed it. It was a dumb story. It has no significant drama or stakes.
No, it's very goofy. It's very fun.
It makes Lana Lang. It makes Lana Lang look like she's flat out smooth brained.
Yeah, she's not the brightest.
No.
Yeah, I like that Krypto is troublesome.
Yeah, I love that. That's really great. That's really fun. That's a fun option. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he's a pain in the ass. Because I think that's right when you say maybe somebody got a dog for their kid, because that does have the feeling of, we just got a dog and he's eating all my shoes.
Yeah.
So
he's waking me up. He's breaking stuff. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I enjoyed it.
Next, we get a half-page comic called Little Pete. It's basically a Bazooka Joe joke. Yeah, he comes home with his report card. His mom says, you failed history. Why? And he says, it wasn't my fault. Teacher asked me things about stuff that happened before I was born. Wop, wop, wop. But that leads us to the best story in this whole comic book magazine, the Aquaman story, the first undersea newspaper.
This story is amazing.
I like this story a lot. The opening of the story is crazy because it made me think it was going to go in a different direction, because the opening...
so confused by the opening of the story that they were like,
why even put this in here? Yeah.
we have to explain that he wanted a son. It's not important to the story in any way.
Yeah, it begins 20 years ago, and the sea captain, Captain Cook, has a child, and the child, he wants a son that can take over a ship, but it's a girl. And he goes, well, girls can't go on ships. And so then we jump ahead 20 years, and his daughter has created The Log, the first ever sea newspaper.
Why would you call it The Log?
Because that's a captain's
I guess ship's log, captain's log?
Ship's log, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
I mean, it sounds like poop, but that's the deal. So everybody's pretty excited about it. They think it's pretty great because they get all kinds of great stories. They found out about a vortex. They've invented the internet because they have news stories that don't feel like they would be helpful to sailors anymore by the time they get the newspaper, but they are helpful. Yeah. Also, this one guy, he reads about this vortex, this whirlpool, and he goes, boy, if I hadn't read the log, I would have gone right into that whirlpool. It's like, no, you wouldn't. You're looking at it. Whirlpool. You're looking at it. Yeah. Yeah. But they get all their stories.
I do like that he's concerned that it's fake news, though. And he's like, I better throw my spear in there and make sure this is real. Like,
and we find out about a cannibal plant. So some guy manages to not get killed by a cannibal plant because he read about it in the log. And we find out that a lot of what happens is that they get their news from seamen. Sea guys on the ocean, not seamen. Yeah, a terrible fucking word. But so we also see then Aquaman rescuing some people who are falling off a bridge. He happens to be right there. I don't know what's even happening here. Holy catfish, he says, though. And he swims up this waterfall to save them. I don't fully understand what this has to do with the story.
I think this is how he learns about the log because the
guy can't stop talking about the log. I'm going to send this shit into the log.
Yeah. So I think that's how Aquaman first hears of the paper.
But the thing is, he finds out about it the next panel because he's floating around and he sees this island that's supposed to be deserted, but people are on it. And he goes, oh, I guess they built a resort here. And then he finds a message in a bottle that has a sea stamp on it.
What is a sea stamp?
And it's to the log, and Aquaman's like, well, the waters are too calm, they're never going to get to the log. So Aquaman's like, what if I was a mailman and I got nothing better to do in my life than deliver bottles to the log? And he throws it into the news net, which again, it just all really feels like the internet to me. Like it really does. Like it's all citizen reporting. They have immediate updates. They have a news net that's a literal net. I think it's really interesting. And
I do like that the news net is a literal net. That's funny.
So it turns out that what's in that bottle is information about a freighter that had to lighten its load, and it dumped all this valuable cargo near Bajorka Island. And they like, hey, whoever finds it can have it, which I don't think is how that necessarily traditionally works. I don't think they
put out the rules of the sea.
I mean, if you did find it, you salvage rights, but I don't think they sent out a message say, hey, everybody.
No, I don't think so.
Our loss is your gain. So, and then for some reason, a gangster's hanging out outside the log offices. And he's like, fuck, I was afraid this was going to happen. So the gangster gets his gangster buddies and they come back to the log offices and they bust in and they start breaking up the printing presses and shit. And I don't fully understand what's happening because the Captain Cook says I must contact Aquaman at once. And then he's immediately there in the next panel. And I don't really understand.
Yeah, this makes me wonder if Captain Cook is a regular Aquaman supporting character at this time that I just don't know about and just kind of disappeared over the years.
Let us know, Todd. But what happens is it doesn't matter because what happens is so amazing that I don't care. Because they're like, fuck, Aquaman, we're never going to be able to print this newspaper. We've never been late before. He goes, don't worry, I got an idea. And rather than like helping them fix it or bringing up sunken treasure so they could buy a new printer, he goes underwater and he uses giant white weeds as paper. Yep. And then he puts it inside a clamshell, and then he squeezes an octopus until he shits all over it with his octopus ink, and then he squeezes the clamshell down, and that prints the newspaper.
And to note,
amazing.
To note, he prints the newspaper, and this is the first time he sees what's on it.
It's so good.
Like, holy shit, look at this.
Well, he doesn't have the fucking printing plates, I don't think. I don't see printing plates. I mean,
maybe he must have the printing plates because he prints the paper.
I know, but like he doesn't even talk about it. Oh, the printing forms, I guess, is what he means.
He says, yeah.
But you would think the people in the comic industry know what a fucking printing plate is. But yeah, so the front page of the paper is about this treasure. And he's like, oh, that's why those guys were busting up the log. So he goes and gets Captain Cook and his daughter and puts them on the back of
Some very angry looking seals.
Yeah, really angry looking seals who are going at amazing speed. I'm not sure I buy that. And they come to Majorca Island. It turns out that actually it was not a resort, but actually it is like a smuggling hub. And these guys want all of the stuff. Unfortunately, they're fighting against Aquaman, who he comes in on a whale, and these guys do not care. I guess their thought process is, I'm on the fucking dock. Like, yeah, good luck with your whale. But it doesn't matter because Aquaman makes a dolphin jump out of the water, bite a guy in the ass, and then throw him back in the water and drown him. Yeah. And he has an octopus fighting. It's like pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. Like Aquaman lands like a kick, and then the rest of it's the sea creatures.
Yeah.
While Aquaman stands there with his hands on his hips, being like, look at me, I'm so cool.
He's like, I've only got 2 panels to finish up the story, so I got to explain everything real quick.
And he says, guess what? He says, and also I have my dolphins get the treasure. So now you can have the treasure and get your printing press all the way back up. And the woman ends it by saying, Aquaman, you're a deer.
He's like, no, they don't live in the ocean.
I love this story. I thought it was so good. The printing press had a clamshell. I was like, inject this right in my veins.
Amazing. And also, I really like the art in the story.
Yeah, I do too, yeah.
It's really good art. I'm not exactly sure at what point they were like, hey, Aquaman's glove should not be yellow anymore. But that was a good decision because it looks weird. It's like, obviously they should be green. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I really like the art. I enjoy, Aquaman just having the sea creatures take care of the mobster thugs while he hangs out.
Yeah, they just like, fuck it.
He's just hitting on the girl. He's hitting on the lady that makes the paper.
I love that he uses the octopus's ink and then has the octopus also beat guys up.
Yes.
I would like some kind of investigation. Can we unionize the sea creatures?
That's a good question.
It seems like exploitation to me. I don't know.
I like that the woman who created the paper is always wearing the newspaper printer hat.
Yeah, it's good. She have to. That's why you know who she is. And you know what her job is. So you have to know what her job is. That brings us to our final story, Green Arrow, the defeat of Green Arrow. And Green Arrow and Speedy are chasing bad guys in their Arrow car, and they go down an alleyway, and they jump out of the car, go down an alleyway, and run into a park. So Green Arrow, of course, shoots his TV arrow at them.
He's like, let's watch TV.
But this is cool, though, because you know what? This is like a drone. Like Green Arrow invented drones. Like this is straight up what this is. Like, and they're watching on the Arrow car. I don't know why they don't just chase them on foot.
Because he's like, I spent a lot of fucking money on this TV arrow, we're using it.
So he runs into the park. When he sees where the guys are in the park, he runs in and he shoots his remote control arrow at them. We see that there's a guy with a 1950s hipster with a giant fucking head hiding behind a tree. And he's like, oh, I'm going to finally be able to defeat Green Arrow. And he uses the remote control arrow, not like you might think. He just spins it around the guys.
Yep.
And then he's like, we have to get them before the momentum of the arrow is used up. And I'm like, how strong are you, bro? Because I don't think that arrow's got that much momentum. So they arrest these guys who had just robbed the bank, and the cops show up. Hey, thanks, you did us a great service. And Green Arrow's like, let's get the fuck out of here. And so the guy whose name is Mr. Genius is there because he's going to go pick up the radio-controlled arrow. Really upsetting to find out that Green Arrow just leaves his special trick arrows laying around.
This is the thing that stuck out to me. Is like, does he just like that camera arrow, that TV camera arrow?
It just sits in it's in the tree the whole comic. It's in the tree the whole comic.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
It's nuts. It's totally nuts. And it's like, why would you leave your remote control arrow just laying on the ground? That's nuts.
I mean, first off, it's dangerous. Second
That's
off,
the thing.
It's got to be expensive.
I mean, he's rich, right? So
yeah,
who
but
cares?
still.
But like, I mean, this is like Green Arrow learns why you can't leave your fucking weapons around because a supervillain's going to take them and learn all your tricks. Like,
I mean, if this was a cartoon in the 80s, it would end with a thing about like, what I was doing was littering and that's wrong. And look at all the problems it caused.
Yeah, so Mr. Genius picks up the arrow. He goes, "This is it. This is the key to my plan to take over the underworld. I'm going to be the biggest fucking guy ever. Not even Green Arrow can stop me now." And so we go to his hideout, and these guys are like, "Listen, Mr. Genius, you've been sending us after Green Arrow, and our guys keep getting arrested. It's like really a fucking hassle. We're losing all our guys. We're done with this." And Mr. Genius is like, "Let me prove to you why this is all worth it."
It took me a little bit to figure out that when they call him genius, they weren't being sarcastic.
No, there's a panel that says Mr. Genius. That it took me until that panel where it says Mr. Genius, like a narration.
But like the first time he's called by name, it's the guy saying, "We've had enough. We've had enough, genius. Your crazy idea of pulling jobs to get Green Arrow into action has cost us too many men." And I thought it was like,
sarcastic,
goofing on him. But nope.
But no. As you might expect, since he's going to have to test out this arrow, he has built an entire Green Arrow robot, which is the standard operating procedure, I think, for this. And
which, by the way, the robot is wearing a little domino mask.
He puts the arrow, it's the remote control arrow. He puts it in the robot's hands, and they press a button in the robot's back. Mr. Genius stands in front of the arrow, and the guy's like, "You're going to fucking die. Like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Don't worry about it." And the arrow takes off, and he remote controls it to go around him, and then he sends it after the other goons. He goes, "Don't worry, boys. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want you to see I have everything." And he shows him his whiteboard that has all the different arrows that he's figured out. And he goes, "Now we're going to get the $10 million shopping center because we know all of Green Arrow's shit." The next panel is gay.
I guess.
Because it's a few nights later, as Green Arrow and Speedy, in their real life roles of Oliver Queen and Roy Harper, prepare for bed, and they're both in the same bedroom in their pajamas together.
We can't tell it's a bedroom.
I mean, I've read enough Batman comics from this era to know that it's a bedroom.
It could be.
To know they're going to sleep in the same bed. No wonder Speedy ends up on heroin. So the Arrow signal goes up. It's crazy what a cheap ripoff he is of Batman.
He's got the car. We don't see the cave.
The Arrow signal. The Arrow signal is crazy. Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes you like a little bit more forgiving of Arrow, the TV show, being a ripoff of Batman, because like that's just they're staying true to the origins of the character.
Yeah. One of my favorites recent Green Arrow gags that they did in the comics. And I think this was in like the Injustice comic, maybe. But Green Arrow takes Harley Quinn to his cave, which is called the Arrow Cave.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is the Arrow Cave." And she goes, "Why didn't you call it the Quiver?" And he's like, "Oh." He's like, "Oh, that's such a better name for it." I always like that.
That is so good. That is so good. So they head out to the yacht club because somebody's been looting the yacht club, and they've blown the bridge over the river. It's the only bridge. And so they want to send their rocket booster arrow to get the getaway car. This is so stupid.
I like this actually.
But the thing is, it's a fucking river. Go 10 feet in another direction and you're going to be clear. He can't shoot the rocket booster arrow directly over the boat. There's a ferry boat, because the rocket booster, this is like so of the space age, the arrow is going to drop a rocket booster down, and he doesn't want it to fall on this boat. So he ends up being off target because he has to send it around the boat instead of just staying in the fucking arrow car and driving down the road a little bit and getting a different vantage point, which I think any archer would understand. Like, you need a better vantage point. But anyway, they get away. So Green Arrow and Speedy have to chase them. But it turns out Mr. Genius has had all this shit planned, because they then go to an oil tank, and Green Arrow
2 days later.
Oh, yeah, 2 days later. Green Arrow can't shoot his arrow at that because it'll blow up. And the boxing arrows that they're using don't go far enough. So this is the whole plan. And
there's just no way to get up to where the criminals are. They can't.
Yeah, I don't really understand like why he didn't just go for the bank right off the bat. Why keep bringing Green Arrow out?
I'm not really sure. I don't know. I also don't know why Green Arrow doesn't have like a grappling hook arrow that they could then just like fly up to where those guys are and stuff like that. But I also don't understand why he can't use his handcuff arrows if it's near a metal wall.
Because the handcuff arrows, it turned out they drill into the surface, which is crazy. It's an insane thing.
Like, why would it do that?
But yeah, so one of the things Mr. Genius does is that they're gonna rob this bank, and there's a metal wall outside the bank. I don't even know what that's about.
Well, it's a steel fence. Yeah.
And they're going to paint it to look like it's wood. And in fact, it works out because Green Arrow sees these guys robbing the bank, and he's like, we're going to use our handcuff arrows. And Mr. Genius is like, I knew it. He always uses the handcuff arrows, but he doesn't know this is steel, so it's not going to work. But then it turns out it does work. Some of the guys get captured. Pretty crazy. So then they have another guy running around. He's like, okay, we're going to use our radio control arrow. And Mr. Genius is hiding behind a tree, not very well. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to take control of this arrow. So you're fucked anyway. But then it doesn't work. And so they got all the bad guys except for Mr. Genius. And Mr. Genius gives them a flat tire, I guess.
Yeah, he pops the tire in the arrow car. Yeah.
And then he drives in a car.
It's not clear how he does it. He just like looks at it and it pops.
He's that much of a genius.
Yeah.
He gets into a getaway car, and he puts himself directly in front of a tour bus. Is it a tour bus?
I think it's like a high school or college bus.
You're right.
A thing
Valley High Beat Tech. Yeah. So Valley High Beat Tech. So they're going to a game, and so Green Arrow can't shoot his booster rocket over the bus, and that's the whole plan. Genius has. Genius is taking into account the idea that Green Arrow will not think about overtaking the bus, perhaps, and going faster.
It can't, because the car's got the Arrow car has a flat tire. The Batmobile or the Arrow car lost a wheel. Mr. Genius got away.
Can't go that fast. But you know what? Green Arrow's like, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. He shoots
these kids.
He shoots his booster arrow over the bus, and the booster falls off, and then it disappears, and it hits the car. Mr. Genius gets wrecked, and he's like, how the fuck did you do that? And so, well, you know what? We left our TV arrow laying in the fucking tree, and we saw you pick up the other arrow. So we figured and talk about what your plan was. So we made sure that all of our shit was going to work properly. We were one step ahead of you, and now you're going to have to go to jail.
He says, let's go, genius. We're going to have to change your name to a number.
Pretty horrible carceral stuff. Very awful.
Here's my major question.
Yeah.
They knew what his plan was. Why not stop him day one?
Yeah, they let him do
it. We got to fill up some time.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're like. You know what? We don't live in a real city. This is a nonsense city. Nothing ever happens here. We're bored.
We don't have any recurring villains to deal with.
There's only so many hours of the day we can be hanging out in the bedroom in our pajamas. Yeah. Until
Merlin shows up again, we're fucked. So
that's a really good example of a comic that's like really funny, because I think there's like something about that premise that's not that bad. Like somebody that figures out how Green Arrow's trick arrows work.
Yeah, I think it's a very good idea. Yeah.
But the laziness of the setup and then the finish is just insane. They just like, yeah, okay, that's enough. We don't have to really put any more work into this.
This is one thing I really enjoyed about reading this comic.
Yeah.
Is that in DC continuity, and even in the new history of the DC universe books that are coming out now, it is explained that Green Arrow and Speedy are sent back in time and stuck there during the 40s, and that's why they're part of like the what is that team called, the whatever 7, right, and all that kind of stuff, and that these adventures all happened to them, which means that when Speedy was like 12, 13, they went back to the 1940s, lived there for a couple of years until they were finally able to come back to current day, and then Speedy was like, this shit fucked me up so bad, I'm going to do heroin.
Or actually more likely is that Speedy back in the 40s was like, he discovered jazz and he went to a jazz club, and then, you know what? Then he started smoking the devil's lettuce. And then from there, there's a guy in the back and he's shooting up, and Speedy's like, what's that?
Here's a question. Were they still putting heroin in like medicine at this time?
No, not in the 40s. No.
No. Okay. All right. So, cause that would have been funny. It was like, I had a cold once and they gave me heroin.
Heroin's illegal at this point. But it is big in the jazz world, so you'll get like a lot of that. So that might be the thing. I mean, Speedy, you know, he's a hip guy when he's older, right? Old Roy.
No, he's kind of a jockey douchebag. I think. I don't like Speedy. I think he's a crappy character.
It is not a great story. It's not bad. It's just like, it is what it is. Like, it's kind of like what you imagine all of these comics to be like from the era.
Yeah.
like really just like half-hearted effort put into it, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, it's Mr. Genius is just a gangster with a big head.
It really is amazing that during this period, this is that time after, the Golden Age is essentially over. All the other books are essentially canceled. It's like the Superman books, Batman, Detective, Wonder Woman, and their backup stories are Aquaman and Green Arrow. And nobody's like, what about fucking Flash? What about Green Lantern? Like, what do we do backup stories about them? We're like, nope, Aquaman and Green Arrow. That's what you got. Nobody else. Like, why? Why these guys?
I don't
Weird.
know. I mean, Green Arrow probably because he's a Batman ripoff, so they feel like the kids like that. And then
Yeah.
I think Aquaman because he has the crazy sea creatures.
Yeah, that's true.
Kids like that too. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like this is all three of these stories are written for babies. Like like within that context, Aquaman makes sense because he's got crazy sea creatures that he hangs out with.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's Adventure Comics number 210. We skipped the text piece and we skipped the game. Put the hat on the right head, which fine. What are we doing next week, Derek?
Next week, where'd my list go?
Oh no, Derek lost his list.
Next week we are doing Fantastic Four Annual 6, Let There Be Life. The Birth of Franklin Richards is what we'll be doing next week.
All right, so we're going to do Fantastic Four Annual 6. We'll see you guys then. But here's the deal. If you join the Cinema Sangha Patreon, you're going to get even more podcasts. You're going to get the Bad Batch. And if you go at the $5 and above level, you're going to get Watchmen. This month, we're going to be having both Superman and Fantastic Four's 2 episodes. Our episodes tend to be quite long. Most of them are 3 hours or more. And so we're going to be looking at about probably 6 hours of episodes for just $5. Plus you get Bad Batch, which is our Star Wars podcast. Plus you're supporting this podcast.
And
but
the Discord.
Access to the Discord. Yeah. And if you can't, though, at the very least, do us a favor, rate and review Marvel Vision on your podcast app. That really helps get the message out. Give it a 4 or 5 stars, whatever the highest one is. If you can't do that, please just don't bother. We ask kindly. And then
even if you want to give a bad review, give it 5 stars and then write a bad review.
Yeah, feel free to do that. Yeah. And then like and subscribe to us on YouTube. You can watch us talking to each other on YouTube, and we're trying to grow that channel. So go like and subscribe. That's Cinema Sangha YouTube, Cinema Sangha Sangha. And the Patreon is www.patreon.com/Cinema Sangha Sangha. Again, I really recommend joining $5 or above right now. So you're going to get Superman. We're probably going to record that this weekend, and Fantastic Four at the end of the month. So you can't go wrong with that.
You can also send us questions at ask.cinema.sangha@gmail.com, and we'll answer your questions.
Put the name of the show that you want your question answered on.
Yes, on the subject line.
In the subject line. All right, that's going to do it for this week. Until next time, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, may you be well, but most of all, may you remain a true believer.